All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Let's get this call started. How are you guys doing this week? Happy Monday. Super happy and blessed to be here today. And you guys know Mondays we wipe the board and we start everything on scratch. Probably the most important session of the week. And yeah, clean off all my drawings and I'll do a top-down analysis. So in terms of the dollar, I am still pretty long. We did come into this previous area of accumulation right here, or I guess distro, but in a previous area of support and continue pushing to the upside. Let me put that. And then here on the weekly, last week we did attempt to start a retracement, but continue to follow weekly order flow, right? We traded into this previous area of accumulation and continue pushing higher. Excuse me. We closed extremely bullish. Um, yeah, extremely bullish last week. Wouldn't be surprised if we trade down into this imbalance. Maybe not today, but if we trade overall down into that imbalance and continue pushing higher. My current objective was this previous high right here, or is this previous high right here, and then on a weekly, I believe, yeah, on a weekly I'd be looking. So on a weekly perspective, I'm looking at one second. On a weekly perspective, I'm looking at that previous weekly high right there, that one, and then beyond that, I'd be looking over here. So first weekly objective would be this one. Excuse me. Yeah. So looking for longs overall this week still. 106,840. Longs, and one sec. Let me drop this link right here as well. I'm journaling as I'm going with you guys. Journaling along with my markups. Okay. Here on a daily perspective, I want to see if we get back into that imbalance here. So on a daily, I want to see this low get taken out. Let me journal and fill up the daily bias. Okay, so this is my daily bias currently. Looking at all the new day and weekly gaps. Personally, yeah, I would like to see us go down into this imbalance. Maybe even to this imbalance here on the left. And then just continue pushing higher from there. So we may be looking at some shorts until then. Yeah, that's the previous area that gets my interest so far. In terms of the dollar, cool. Let's move over, and I guess yeah, I'm expecting some a long week on dollar. Right. Dow Jones or Nasdaq? Let's go with Nasdaq. Right. Just one sec. Okay, cool. So that's our bias for the dollar today. Some shorts into this previous daily low and this insufficiency here on the downside. And I'm gonna just clear out my chart on Nasdaq, and we're gonna start from the very top. On a monthly perspective, we did close below this bullish imbalance. That is bearish order flow. So now I'm looking for shorts. Okay, more into these areas here. The shorts like last week ended up playing out beautifully. Maybe we'll get back a revisitation down to the lows here this week from this weekly imbalance. Yeah, beautiful distribution from the top. I'm gonna acknowledge all these gaps. There's a lot of gaps here, and there's this huge imbalance here, right? And so this imbalance, for this imbalance, I would like us not to go and fill up the whole thing again. You know, maybe if we get back from premium, I'd like to see some distribution from the premium side. That would be a really good, you know, signs of distro or bearishness. But I'm looking for distribution 50% or below or above of that imbalance. That imbalance is pretty big, so I'm not going to mark out all of it. But just know that I'm looking for 50% or above of that imbalance. In terms of a weekly objective, my most probable objective right now would probably be this imbalance here. That one right there. Yep. That one. And we're going to mark that out for shorts. That's the weekly objective. And that price level is a little bit below that. We're going to call it, let's see the opening price of this. It is 14,965. 14,965 even. Cool. And we're looking for short week. Perfect. Let's dive a little bit deeper into the daily. Okay, so now looking at our range. Okay. Range is right here. Maybe if we return 50% and above of the range and then distribute for the week. And you guys can see right here, this imbalance lines up very nicely with this 50%. So returning back to 50% and distributing from there would be pretty nice and ideal. Okay, that imbalance is also there. I want to make sure that we note that imbalance there. And we are accumulating out of a current insufficiency. So current daily gap right there. Okay, so we have these pretty strong levels coming up. But for the most part, I'm looking for an overall of shorts. Okay. I am still holding from up here. I'm still holding that short. We'll see how that one ended up planning out. I'm just not logged into my TradeStation account. So, yeah, I don't think I'll be trading that account today. I'm thinking I'm just going to swing that. That's a personal account too, so I'm just going to swing that down to these lows. For the most part, yeah. Just going to swing down to the lows. Want to see a retracement. Get back into to and above this previous area right here. Maybe we get there and then distribute from there. But that's really my objective right now, is getting back up there. And then maybe distributing from there to continue moving towards the downside. But overall, these lows get my attention the most. Okay. So here's my daily bias. These two areas for sure. This blue shaded area as the high. And then if we were to go for some higher time frame liquidity, these lows. Or maybe we just build up liquidity for tomorrow. Who knows? Cool. And then let me just put this up right here. Boom. Cool. And then you have this previous weekly low here as well. Want to note that we have Asian highs still available as well, available here. We can distribute out of that area. That is a possibility. As of right now, though, I'm not going to look there. I'm just going to look up here because we're so fairly close to it. We got the opening here in like 13 minutes. Yeah. So that's it for NAS right now. Yeah. All right. Let's go over to Dow. And same thing, we're going to wipe the board on Dow. Still got another 10 minutes. So perfect. Took out these previous lows here. We have shown accumulation ever since. Dow was a lot deeper in discount than NASDAQ was. So if Dow's pulling back, it doesn't come as a surprise. Dow's still trading within this weekly imbalance here. And maybe, but just maybe, we come take out previous weekly high again. Maybe. It's not needed to continue going short. It's definitely not needed. Okay. But if we're looking at this whole range here, 50% and above is up here. So maybe, again, it's probabilities are best given these scenarios, but anything can happen in Dow. Okay, so still looking at the short, right? Still looking at shorts overall. We have this fully unmitigated candle there. We'll see what happens so far. Previous weekly high. Previous area of accumulation. So, for me on the weekly, on Dow, a weekly objective will probably end up being this gap right here. This is such a big gap right here. Yeah, that gap right there. Which is last week's... No, not last week's low. So that is Friday or Thursday's low. Yeah, I'm looking at 33,620. $33,620, which ends up being this gap right here. Shit. Accidentally clicked the wrong one. Yeah, 33,620. Okay, 33,620. And I'm looking for overall shorts. Cool. Okay, let's get the daily objective going. But yeah, so far the range is pretty big. We can go up, back up there. We don't have to. But I'm gonna just leave it marked up there. As a daily objective, Dow's been shooting to the upside pretty well, so I mean, this is the most logical area in my eyes to look for as a target for today. Maybe we'll just pop up there real quick and then continue trading lower. Two areas that get my attention is these double tops, and then maybe we'll move towards the downside. We'll start moving lower. But again, the DXY, the DXY, I'm looking for lower prices overall. So on Dow, it just makes sense to go long for today. At least for a good chunk of time. Maybe not the entire day, but a good chunk of time. Still got like another 8 minutes. S&P. All right, so let's look at it on a monthly perspective. From this low to this high, we still got room to drop on S&P. So still got room to drop a little bit lower. Bearish order flow still here. You know, maybe we take out, I don't think we're going to take out previous weekly high on S&P, to be honest. It could happen. But it's less likely to happen. Okay, so for S&P, I'm still short, and we're going to look at this gap. Lots of new week opening gaps lately. Okay, we're going to look at this gap, and I'm going to look at the high of it for our objective, which is 43.50. I was about to journal it. I don't have a journal entry for it. Yeah, 33.50. 43.50 overall for the shorts for this week. And then for the day, for the day, back to this blue shaded box here. I mean, kind of the daily and weekly are my same thing right now in terms of S&P. Yeah, in this range, there needs to be liquidity, right? And we kind of already took out all that liquidity. So maybe we'll take another intraday liquidity, but overall, just kind of looking for more shorts. Maybe we'll take another intraday level out before we continue moving lower. But yeah, this imbalance does get my attention right here. The one that we're trading into for potential distribution back to the downside. Being very cautious. Sarah asks, how do you see the gap so easily when there's no actual gap? Because there always because there is a gap even when it's not very visible. I think it's a thing of like training your eyes. It's a really good question though. So for example, like you said, you know, there's like no actual gap here, right? But there is, like we can clearly see it here. Right, you can see that gap here, that closing to that opening. there's no actual gap there, right? Because it looks like price fully filled it out, but the gap is actually there. So you just gotta train your eyes. The way that I train my eyes to see is I stop looking for like empty spaces, right? I stop looking for empty little gaps, and I started only acknowledging a gap for what it is. So a gap, the way to identify a gap is from, let's say it's a weekly gap, right? Weekly gap, the way to identify a weekly gap is from Friday's close and Sunday's open. Okay. And so when you put it that way, I'm no longer looking for these empty volume gaps there, right? Now any differential between Friday's close to Sunday's open turns into a gap, right? And then you take it one step further. You got the daily gaps, and the daily gap is from previous day close to new day opening, right? So then you take that to that step a little bit further. One second, let's move this and make it a little bit smaller, right? We take it a little bit further now, and so now daily gaps are anything differentiating from any other day other than Friday to Sunday. So for example, this one right here is a new day opening. It's a new weekly opening gap. And then let's look over here. Weekly opening gap right below it. Right there, that one Thursday to Friday. Right? Thursday's close, Friday's open. There's a difference right there. That creates that gap. Right, same thing over here. Wednesday's closure, Thursday's opening price. Right? Oh, I see. There's a gap between the close and the previous candle and the open of the next. It doesn't align. Yeah. It usually doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't align very well. Like this one right here. This is another weekly opening gap, and you can see this closed lower on Friday, and then look where we open on Sunday, way up here. That's a huge gap. Right? And the only reason I'm not marking that one out, or I don't mark all of them out, is because I don't want to put too much on my chart and overwhelm you guys with markups. So that's why I do it that way. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of gaps for sure. We have the opening price here in about 14 seconds. Again, expecting longs into these areas, longs into the high, and slight long on S&P. Yeah, that's a great question though, Sarah. Thank you for asking that. I'm sure a lot of people would wonder the same thing. So yeah, no, the daily gaps are a lot easier. On the DXY, let me just tell you guys this. On DXY, if you go look for the 4-hour gap, where is it? Yeah, not always on the 4-hour will the gap appear. I noticed that. But it's not always on the 4-hour for some reason on DXY. The 4-hour doesn't usually show it this well. Sometimes you gotta go into the 1-hour, and then all of a sudden like these new gaps start appearing, like that one right there, between Friday to Sunday. If you go to the 4-hour, for some reason it's not there. So just be cautious of that stuff. There is some gaps that are not visible. I noticed it only on the DXY. But yeah, that's a new daily opening gap right here. The closure was lower right there. So the closure of that candle and the opening of the next. We got the opening price. Nasdaq moving higher very nicely, as we anticipated. Dow pushing higher. S&P not really doing much, again, as we anticipated. But overall moving upwards, right? That's what we wanted to see. Everything's kind of following the dollar right now. Our dollar bias for the shorts. And I'm not going to trade the opening today. I know that I have my rule about red folders before 10 a.m. I mean, before the opening. But honestly, the news this morning was so low impact, I'm not really going to consider it. The news this morning was super low impact. What's my screen setup? I have my screen setup. I guess I have a 34-inch curved monitor in the bottom. I hope that this is what you're talking about. I have a 34-inch curved monitor on the bottom, and then I have a 30-inch curved monitor on the top. I don't have a really crazy setup. I keep it pretty simple. Just 2 monitors, one on the bottom, one on top. I'm about to replace and get that really long screen. I think it's like 49 inches. It's called like the Samsung Odyssey. I'm gonna get that one and then put it in place of my bottom one and move my bottom one, my 34-inch curved one, to the top. And then I'm gonna get rid of my top one. But besides that, I don't know what the hell you mean by screen setup. Yeah, I kind of figured that's not what you meant, but one second. How do you make to have time frames like that? Oh, this is an indicator. This is a paid indicator. I will make a video this week for you guys. Stay tuned. I'll announce it throughout the week, explaining everything about this indicator, how you guys can get it, how you can set it up. But yeah, and this is an indicator. Give me one sec. One sec. The longs are playing out pretty nicely. Pretty nicely. DXY getting a slight attempt of an accumulation. I wouldn't really consider this too worrisome. I mean, we are accumulating out of this previous area of accumulation here. Maybe we get that push higher, right? And that will start pushing indices towards the downside, but no evidence so far, and really no liquidity taken for me to be wanting to look for shorts at the moment. So nothing for me so far. Right, DXY giving this pullback into this previous 1 hour area. 4 hours looking pretty good to honestly give us a nice little pullback and then continue moving to the downside. Nasdaq's has its own reaction right now. Both DXY and Nasdaq pumping, Dow attempting to, and S&P as well, showing some more upside, right? As DXY is moving towards the upside. So no correlation right now. Nothing really being supported. No buttons being pushed. Not rushing into anything. Just kind of waiting for price action to develop more liquidity within these ranges. Because, yeah, it's pretty difficult to try to catch this trade without liquidity being manufactured. So maybe we come for this whole range, right? I'm in from over here, still holding. Even if we were to take out this range, I would still hold. Now, do we need to go all the way up there? I don't think so. The entirety of this range does not need to be taken for us to be confirming more bearishness. Just a simple previous hourly high is what I'm looking for. So once 9 a.m. closes, I'm looking for that 9 a.m. to get taken out. Right? I'm going to look for 9 a.m. to get taken out before I start looking for shorts. So far, so good, though. I want Dow to take out these highs before anything else. Alright guys, we've had a lot of winners on these giveaways. Last week we had a lot of winners, the previous week before that. Okay, and usually on Mondays is when I do give things away. So we're gonna do a giveaway for a 1 hour session. Okay, we're gonna do a giveaway for a 1 hour session with myself. Okay, and it's gonna be a quote. It's going to be a quote. And all you have to do is type out the quote and finish it out in the comment section. Okay? All you have to do is be subscribed and fill in the blank, basically, for the quote. Okay? So stay tuned. Somewhere throughout the call, here in like 10 minutes, I'm going to do that with you guys. Give me just 1 second, okay? 1 second. Okay. Yeah, we've had actually quite a bit of people winning and having one-on-ones. Yeah, I've had some incredible one-on-ones so far, guys. I just want to say that. Thank you guys for meeting up with me, taking time out of your day to sharpen your skills. I know last week, with one individual, I mean, we set him up with a trading plan. We set him up with a good trading journal. I mean, he got set up pretty well. So shout out to all the winners and all the daily participants, all the individuals that show up for themselves every single day. Shout out to you guys. I'm talking to all of you guys. Like, you guys are outworking most people, and it shows. So keep it up. Keep it up. I'm getting a nice reaction out of NASDAQ. I'm more than likely not going to short anything until Dow takes out at least one high. Okay. So, yeah, Dow's going to struggle. I'm going to go heat up some water for some tea. So give me a second. All right. I'll be right back. All right, cool. Nothing much happening. Let's go to EU. EU is gonna have a pretty similar bias to what, of course, DXY is doing. But in terms of a range, we did take out major lows. Maybe we'll go a little bit deeper. Maybe. I'm going to mark it out, but I'm going to leave it there first. Okay. On the weekly, you guys, I mean, we've been just following order flow very beautifully, especially last week. And this week, leaving that fat gap right there. Gonna leave both of those marked out, both those insufficiencies. Gonna move these over, make sure it's pretty accurate. There it is. And here's this one. Cool. That one, stretch it out that way. Boom. All right, these are the areas that I'm looking at for the shorts this week. Okay, so of course EU has that imbalance there. Honestly, what would be a really good short would be if DXY comes into that gap and EU doesn't, and vice versa. If EU comes into that gap and DXY doesn't, you know, those are all pretty good. Oh shoot, I needed to delete all of this. Oh no, wait, this is a different DXY. Okay, sorry. Okay, that daily imbalance there gets my attention across the board for both of these, right? So if one of them gets in there and the other one doesn't, that's a pretty good bearish divergence on EU, right? And bullish divergence on dollar. So pretty good divergence if that does take place. So I'm gonna be kind of waiting for that. I'm gonna actually put an alert on DXY. Daily fair value gap. Okay, kind of want to be alerted when that happens. And then let's go back to one screen. Yeah, for this week, I mean, I'm looking at shorts. Shorts, previous weekly low as a target. I'm gonna delete that one. That was a monthly sweep. And then I'm gonna mark this one out, but we already know they're there. Okay, first is first. Okay, then you got the new week opening gap. 4 hour is bearish, so really we don't necessarily even have to take out that or go into that gap. We got this 4 hour bearish range right here. Okay, 1 second. Okay, we have internal liquidity taken out. And we have a potential start of a distribution now. We did take out internal liquidity, this previous 4 hour high. We don't have to go any higher than that. It would be ideal though, right? It would be ideal to go a little bit higher to this unmitigated candle, but liquidity is the name of the game. And so internal liquidity has already been taken, intraday liquidity. Now we need to make sure that it is the valid one, the one that's actually going to turn this thing around. So let's go to the 15. And how would you make sure that? So if you start looking over here, and also divergence, right? So like looking at the dollar, EU and the dollar. Okay, just looking at both of these. And they have reverse correlation, right? So previous 4 hour low, previous 4 hour high, previous 4 hour low right here, and then we got another lower low, right? So we get a lower low, and then over here we get a higher high. So no divergence there. So that's how you're able to tell this. If DXY makes a lower low, you should see a higher high on the EU. If you don't see that higher high on EU, there may be some bearish divergence there. If DXY creates a higher high, you should see a lower, or if DXY creates a lower low, you should see a higher high on EU, right? And vice versa. If you see a higher high on DXY, you should see a lower low on EU. As of right now, nothing. No. DXY is probably the only one that's got this slight, very slight accumulation, but I'm not really falling for it. I'm not really convinced on DXY. We got this 5-minute distribution on EU. I really like this distribution on EU that's taking place right now. We got an imbalance. We got previous area distribution. I like EU right now. Where it's at, that short right where it's at is super clean. Super clean. Yo, what's good, brother? What's good? Good morning. Getting us right below this 50% line and lower. Honestly, Asian lows look very attractive. Very achievable. Nasdaq still slightly climbing higher, created an insufficiency. Dow's still climbing higher. Nasdaq's looking pretty nice. Blessed, abundant, and grateful. Beautiful, brother. Happy to see that. Yeah, that short on EU was it. Just clean. It's a really clean play right there. Took out internal liquidity, shifted structure to the downside, creates an imbalance, comes back, retests that imbalance, continues moving lower. Down to the Asian lows. Yeah, that's a beautiful trade. Beautiful, beautiful short. It's crazy how order flow works. Look at that. We have that like sweep of the low, and then we also have a gap right here. So you can kind of see how price action came into that gap. Crazy good. We still have another 6 minutes, 7 minutes on the hourly. So not pushing anything myself. Not taking this either. Just letting you guys know. Wait until 10 a.m. as I mentioned earlier. That's even if it's not on indices, it's still like my rule remains. 10 a.m. is when I wait for my entry. Right? The last like few minutes of the hour, to me, I just, at that point, just wait for the hourly. You know what I mean? Like at that point, just wait for the hourly. You're less than like 6 minutes away from the hourly, right? So at that point, you just wait for the hourly to happen. Right here. So we'll see what the hourly wants to do. Six minutes. Maybe takes out the previous high. Maybe all we do is come back into this previous area of distribution and continue pushing lower. Dow taking that daily. Beautiful. Bearish divergence there. Excuse me. Just waiting till 10 a.m. Another 5 minutes. EST or PST? I'm always going to be talking in EST. Always, always, always. Always going to be EST. It's not even my time zone, but yeah, I run my life through EST. Yeah. PST, I think it's still like another like 3 hours out. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to be here in 3 hours for sure. If this trades into this previous area of distribution, I won't take it. Not until after 10. Yeah, Dow needs to take out that daily. It's in the same spot. Yeah, it's in the same spot it's been since basically the beginning. Maybe we get a triple top? A nice triple top. Not taking NASDAQ. I know it came into our area, but I'm not taking it. I was hoping Dow would take that high by now, though. Not gonna lie to you guys. I was hoping we'd take out that high by now. Now waiting for the weekly. Yeah, on my feed it hasn't taken it out yet. Maybe on other feeds it has, but in my feed it has not. Let's go look at capital.com. Not found in futures. 1 second. Yeah, it hasn't taken out the daily here either. Yeah, me either, brother. But there's divergence here for sure. Cause Dow, at the end of the day, like Dow is the one deepest in discount across the board. If you're looking at the monthly, I mean, the monthly we can go lower, right? Here, but look at the futures market. Okay. Oh yeah, no, the futures. Wait, where is it? Yeah, the futures market. We already took out the low. Okay, so I'm not saying we can't go lower, but we are very deep in discount and still 50% and below. And all of these, like, we're already 50% and above, 50%, not even close to 50%, but Nasdaq's already 50% and above. So I feel like Nasdaq, that's why it's been dropping with more ease, since it's a lot deeper in disc and premium. Right? Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. I know basic structure, and so I know that this structure is not in my favor right now, and the timing aspect is not in my favor right now either. So being patient. Patience is the name of the game. Yeah, Fabio, I felt the exact same way. The Dow of the three is the only one that doesn't close below Thursday's low. Yeah, some bullish divergence there. Some slight bullish divergence, right? Got less than 1 minute. About 30 seconds left on the hour. Nasdaq could potentially even come back and take out this high. That would be the most ideal for me, is taking out this high. Taking out this high first. There it is. Take out that high first, and then we'll start looking at the lows. Sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. Cool. 10 a.m. This imbalance still gets my attention, just not yet. Still gonna leave it there though. It could be useful moving forward, okay? Dow pumps. More pumps. We need to take out 9 a.m.'s high across the board. Because on the futures market, okay, in the futures market, the 9 a.m. high tends to be like that previous 4 hour. So on other feeds, I think the 4 hour either ends in an hour or it ended an hour ago. Okay. But on the futures feed, 9 a.m. is the last hour of this 4 hour. So taking out this, remember when I was telling you guys, this range needs liquidity? That's what I'm talking about right here. Boom. All right, so now we do have liquidity. So if we were to take this out and then start distributing above it, that's enough internal liquidity where I see this turning around. All right, so and so I am live streaming Monday through Friday. Yes, I'll put it in the every Monday through Friday except Thursdays. Yeah, it's in the description too. Yeah, the only day that I don't do anything is on Thursdays, because I'm with my private study group, and so I give them the opportunity to book out a one-on-one with me and trade live with me more on a one-on-one basis on Thursdays. So that's what my Thursday mornings consist of. So yeah, every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern, just catch me here. I'll be vibing. Let's see if we get these highs. Do you guys have any questions, comments, observations? Maybe you've already taken a trade. Has anybody taken a trade already today? If so, drop it in the chat so we can break it down, see what you were looking at. Do you guys have any questions about the markup so far? I know Sarah had an outstanding question earlier today on how to identify gaps with more ease. I thought that was a really good question that she asked. Zach, just sitting on my hands so far. Proud of you, bro. No trade is a trade. So, it is struggling too much to take those lows of the weekly. I'm guessing you're talking about Dow, right? Yeah. Yeah. Dow did the least last week. I mean, I guess on Friday. So on Thursday, it did the most. Let's correct that. Okay. So Thursday, Thursday, Dow did the most. And NASDAQ did the least on Thursday. And then on Friday, NASDAQ did the most. And S&P did as well. S&P's been steady. That's why people love S&Ps, because it's so steady, man. It's an easy, slower moving, not very slow. You still get really nice moves. It's an easy asset to follow. I really love S&P. Through your personal experience, what time in the morning are the most probable? The ones after the 4-hour closures. Okay, and the 15 minutes after the open, when there is high volatility news. So let's kind of look at this as like the hourly. On the 9 a.m. Okay, and always on Eastern time. If there's news before this point, I don't trade it at all at this point. But if there's news at all before this midpoint, my highest probable scenario is here. If there's news before this point, this green point right there, the highest probable in my eyes is there. Or if it doesn't happen right there, then you sit out over here. You sit that quarter out, and then you wait for the first quarter of 10 a.m. The first 2 quarters of 10 a.m. has the best probabilities. Yeah, timing. That's a really good question. The timing aspect is super important. Super important. But yeah, right now we're in that quarter. So now let's go and look at current hourly, right? 10 a.m. Okay. If there's no news, usually I'm always trading. Let me divide this. I'm always trading this one, that one right here, and this one's. So besides that 9:30 to 9:45, when there's news, this is like my highest probability window. If I had to say, even like, this is my highest probability window right there. Those 45 minutes I just don't miss. I'm like glued to the chair, don't want to miss it. I'll be patient. And then after that, this last quarter I don't trade. The last quarter of the 10 a.m. I don't really trade. Yeah. And then the first 2 quarters of 11 a.m. are the ones that I trade. And I don't trade the last 2 quarters of the 11 a.m. Hopefully that makes sense. I know some of you really hate you, and then some of you that probably flew right over your head. But those of you who took notes, it's important information right there. Gems. Good thing all of these are recorded, right? All of them are recorded. Dow starting to get that drop. I kind of figured that we were going to create a triple top. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I had a feeling we were going to create that triple top. Yeah, I think we're going to come back and take this out later on this week. I never hold on Mondays. So if I was to get into a trade today, it would be in and out. But as of right now, I don't see any signs of bearishness other than on Dow. No signs of bearishness other than on Dow. Yeah, you can just kind of see when, like, if Dow wanted to take out these highs, it would have done it with the volatility from the open. Right? Like, the opening price should have given Dow enough volatility to take out that triple top or take out the top. But it didn't. So it was struggling to. DXY is accumulating. It looks like my daily objective is going to get completely dismissed. But the next area that we were looking at for distro is up here. That 1 hour did accumulate though. So more than likely just going to continue seeking out, for example, Asian high. Seems like the most logical. I'm going to journal this real quick on DXY. So I journal these, and so why do I journal it? Because my initial bias was this low right here. That was my initial bias, and right now I don't have that same bias anymore, right? So I did change my mind in terms of this long and this short right here, and I do think that we can go long from here towards the Asian highs, right? The way that we closed on the 1 hour kind of gives me that feeling that we're gonna push a little bit higher. So given that, I'm still going to leave this intact in case we do come back to it later on this week. But as of right now, I do think that we're going to revisit those Asian highs or play around this area a little bit more. But so far, kind of seeing this range right now. The low of the day, right? And I'm just looking for the high of the day. But I'm accepting the fact that this liquidity, previous area of accumulation, was enough to accumulate the 1 hour, and I'm going to assume that this was enough to push higher. I could be dead ass wrong, right? But that's how I see it currently. 4 hours bearish. Ideally, I want to see if we are going to distribute a little bit more on this 4 hour. You know, ideally, I'd want to see us get back into 50% and above. It took out the previous 4 hour high. Took out intraday liquidity within this daily gap. Intraday liquidity within a daily gap. Interesting. Give me 1 sec. NASDAQ takes out the high. S&P probably did the exact same thing. Dow pulling back maybe into that previous area. No entry for me, guys. No entry for me. 15-minute looks pretty bullish. Can you walk us through your top-down analysis? For example, what time frame do you start with and what are you looking for? Okay, that's actually a really good question because I get this a lot. I get this question a lot. So for everyone that's new to the channel, or you haven't been here as many times as other people have, so when it comes to Monday and Tuesday streams, don't miss them. I will every single Monday, Tuesday, I delete everything from my charts, because throughout the week, honestly, there's a lot of markups and stuff, so I don't delete everything every single day of the week. But every single Monday and Tuesday, I'll wipe out the charts and I'll do a top-down analysis on all the assets, and we're talking about DXY, Nasdaq, Dow Jones, and EU. Okay, and so at the beginning of this recording, you guys can check that part out. But I invite all of you tomorrow morning, show up, and I'll do the top-down analysis. The first, we come here from 9 a.m. to 9:30, and we do all that markup. So from 9 a.m. to 9:30, if you guys want to see my top-down analysis, and I go from the monthly perspective to kind of, I don't want to short you from your question, right? I don't want to short your answer, but I do a top-down analysis from the monthly, and I walk it down from weekly objective, daily objective, and then intraday objectives. And then we just kind of go from there and do our whole process of markups. Because as you guys see my chart, you guys will notice there's a lot of markups throughout this thing, right? So I don't mark those out every single day, just Mondays and Tuesdays, right? And then we delete as we go after that. Liquidity. Again, that short bias on DXY could play out. I'm going to leave everything as is. Though, I'm going to leave everything just as is. Because if we long on the indices for the day, I just won't participate. And that's totally fine. On Dow, I mean, that was probably the only one that I was aching to long. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I kind of wanted to long it into the highs. It just kind of goes against my long bias on the dollar, so I don't trade against the dollar anymore. I've made it a rule that I just won't, most of my losses were trading against the dollar. Not most, but like 60% of my losses were when I was trading against the dollar bias. From June, not really, but from the whole year, I guess. It's like a whole yearly analysis on my performance this previous quarter. Once we closed the third quarter, I went through everything. Yeah, so basically that's kind of what you're looking for. If we're bearish, so let's say like right here, okay, we're bearish, okay, and the weekly just opened. If we're bearish, this is kind of what you want to see. You want to see an accumulation at the start of the week to take out some level of liquidity to then distribute from and drop lower. Right now, one big thing that has to happen for me today is this imbalance right here on the daily. This one right here on the daily has to get respected with the bodies. If we were to close above that daily imbalance right there, I would really start considering these highs. But that's really the daily today. Monday sets a really strong tone for the week, right? But as of right now, yeah, I'm still, looking for shorts overall for the week. And I'd like to take the trending or the highest probability side, and I try to deviate from the counter trends, right? So this is, in my eyes, a counter trend, attempting to build up liquidity. And the less you add to those counter trends, the better off you will be. Trust me. But yeah, so really good observation, Santiago. So really what we're looking for is for that high of the week, right? We're looking for the point in which these indices are going to create the high of the week, right? And having divergence, how would you be able to tell like at what point Nasdaq, Dow, and S&P are gonna, how do we know when they're gonna turn around? How do we catch these reversals? And it's very, very simple, very, very simple. The way that you can tell when prices are about to start reversing from each other or reversing on their current trend is when there's divergence. So let's say Dow does take out these highs, previous daily high, right? S&P will probably take out, let's say S&P takes out previous daily high also, right? Then you'll have S&P taking out previous daily high, Dow taking out previous daily high, and then Nasdaq. Okay, if Nasdaq doesn't take that previous daily high, then you have what's called bearish divergence, right? Because all three of them will need to take out that previous daily high for us to be correlated, for us to be trending, you could say, right? And if you're not trending, then it's the, I guess, the start of a divergence. And so we're not necessarily all trending towards that upside. NAS and SPX still pushing higher, potentially taking out 9 a.m.'s high. Dow looks like it's reacting off that to push higher. Yep. It's all playing out pretty nicely. Dow from that daily imbalance to those highs. I don't know if anybody is participating in the market, but I mean, yeah, this one didn't play out that well. Not gonna lie. Still kind of just in the same spot. Very same spot. I like your live streams, bro. You're very communicative and transparent. We really appreciate that. Awesome, man. I'm really happy to hear that. Thank you for sharing that with us. That's what we strive for, is transparency. Full on transparency, right? When I take trades, for those of you who have been on the calls, then you know that I take all my trades right in front of you guys. And not hiding exits, not hiding partials, not hiding anything. Just showing you guys how I guess, run my morning session, my trading session. So, I want to just say thank you for all of you guys for being here today. Thank you for taking the time to share this time and space with me. And for most of all, for giving me the time of the day, right? Because honestly, I'm just here having a conversation with myself. You guys ask me questions and I feel like I've asked myself those questions too. And sometimes when you guys ask questions, it's like you took the words right out of my mouth, and and so it's really cool sharing this journal, you could say. I feel as if this is more of my journal, and you guys get to see that journal, right? Because all of these live streams are all uploaded to YouTube. I've been streaming for a couple months now. I started in February, and yeah, I mean, everything's uploaded. In August or the beginning of September, we started streaming every day. And so I feel like this is just kind of like a journal that I keep filling out for you guys, and you guys, get to publicly see that, whether things play out, whether things don't. As of right now, I'm not really seeing any signs of shorts. There's no shorts right now in my eyes. We took out that previous 4-hour high, and we have accumulated on the 1 hour, right? So maybe this 4-hour just took out that liquidity and it's ready to start coming down, just like that. Intraday liquidity and ready to come down. EU, I mean, if that's the case, then EU is just gonna continue pumping to the upside, which is totally fine. Again, I'm not gonna take any longs this week. I'm mainly gonna align myself with the shorts this week, and it's just like last week. I think Nasdaq, in terms of movement, it was one of my bigger trades of the year. And that all came with patience. I was waiting for that all week. You know, from Monday, I was waiting for those shorts. And I waited very, very patiently for those shorts. It's kind of the same thing today. I feel the exact same way. Things are pumping beautifully. DXY showing that meltdown after we came into this previous area of distribution, came into that previous opening day gap. This gap is Thursdays and Fridays of last week. So look at Thursdays right here, the way we closed right after we took out that previous weekly high. We stopped price action dead in its tracks that day, and then we had a gap opening from Thursday's closure, okay, to Friday's opening price. Okay, and we traded into that, and that's like a daily insufficiency. Okay, that's like a daily imbalance. So inside a daily imbalance, let's say I'm bearish. Inside a daily imbalance, I want to see intraday liquidity. And so that's what we got here. Just like on a weekly imbalance, I want to see daily liquidity taken. It's the same concept. Treat your 4 hour like the daily. It's the same thing, right? This is a daily imbalance and we got intraday liquidity into it. So I know that this 1 hour is bullish, but I do believe that we're just going to melt down towards my original bias, which is down here, right? So longs are going to play out. Dow, I think it would have been like the best one because it has the best targets in terms of immediate, not trying to overexpose yourself so early in the week. And then these guys, I mean, I would be really happy if we took out some daily liquidity. I'm not going to lie. Because then the shorts will look that much more attractive. But I think Dow is the only one that really needs to do it here. NASDAQ as well. And yeah, again, no buttons for me today so far. Just sitting on my hands. How do you make your backtest? Oh, wait, hold on. There's a couple of questions. I don't know if you're allowed to share this info, but what broker do you use to trade future assets you have in your watch list? I understand if you want to keep it private. No, it's totally fine. It's a really good question. Actually, I'm not logged into it, so I can pull this up. But I'd use TradeStation. I'm a favorite. I use TradeStation. Yeah, because I used to use Tradeovate. Well, I still have a Tradeovate account through a prop firm called TopStep. But I don't trade that account nearly as much. They have a lot of rules and stuff, and I'm building up that account very, very slowly. Very, very fucking slowly, because I don't want to lose that account. So I was pretty close to drawdown on that one, to my overall drawdown. So on that one, I'm building up very slowly, and that's what really led me from going from this one to TradeStation. TradeStation offers the exact same thing, but literally way less fees. Way less fees. So now, I'm not a financial advisor, but if you guys have ever wanted to get into the futures market, okay, or let's say, Bash, I have margin accounts. I have, I'm currently in a challenge. I don't want to switch to futures, but I really enjoy the futures feed. There's two options that you have. You can either pay TradingView. Okay, you could either pay TradingView for the feed. Okay, that's a first option. You can pay TradingView for the feed. And I think it's like $60 a year, $5 a month. It's really low. Okay, or I'm not a financial advisor, but if you open an account with a futures broker, give them the minimum fucking deposit. I mean, you can put, I think TradeStation has like a minimum deposit of like $50. Or I think even way lower. I'm not sure. I didn't even look at it. I think even way lower. It's like $20. Okay, put like $20 into a futures broker. And then if they allow to link, for example, use one of these, like TradeStation. I'm not affiliated, but just saying. Use one like TradeStation, put like $10 into it, and then all of a sudden you connect it to your TradingView, and boom, for $10 you just have fucking futures feed. and a new account, a new personal account, right? So I'm not saying anything other than the fact that the main reason I switched to futures was to trade directly on it. So I can trade directly with what I mark up, all in the same terminal, you know. My markups are what I use for my entries. Can we use TradeStation in Canada? I believe so, brother. I'm not sure. Oh, actually, that's a tough one. I believe not, but try it and let me know. Cause I've only had friends that open accounts, and I've only had students open accounts here in the United States, but I have yet to have any of my UK or Canadian students or South American students open up any futures account. So far, I've only seen American accounts or American students open up accounts. Futures. You know what? I wouldn't doubt it, because one of my mentors, his name is Zeus, and he's from, I don't know. I don't want to say. He may see this one day. So I don't want to say where he's from, but he's definitely from Europe somewhere, and he trades futures. So I want to say yes. He trades strictly futures. So I want to say yes. How do you backtest? So I backtest my performance. So I know right now it's kind of slow, guys, and really like the longs are playing out very nicely. Just nothing that I would find attractive enough to take other than Dow Jones. Dow Jones was probably the only one that took out 9 a.m.'s low and then went long. That's beautiful. That's really what I want to see. It's like intraday liquidity, boom. Then we pop off to a daily objective. Okay, so for your TradeStation in Canada, I would definitely try it out, because I don't doubt it. I have too many mentors, and I see too many people on Twitter trading futures, and they're all in Europe. I feel like Europe has more future traders than here in the United States. I don't know why, but I just see a lot more people in the UK playing futures than over here. I see a lot more margin trading over here. Okay, so for my backtesting, all right, so objectives, guys, everybody's pretty clear on everything in terms of objectives. We needed liquidity here. We didn't get it. This is the only liquidity area. Liquidity and seeking out liquidity. Okay, so as we seek out that liquidity, I'm going to switch over my screen to how I backtest. Okay, I backtest this. Let me show you guys. I backtest this. This is my 2023 trading analytics. So this is my before and after. Shit, I almost trashed the whole fucking thing. This is my before and after of every single day, every single week. I have yet to miss a single week this year. I missed days for sure, but I have yet to miss an entire week at all this year. And so this is what I backtest. Like, I don't backtest what happened in the price action. I backtest what I looked for, what I did, and what I was looking for. For example, you know, I go back and I note news. I do my befores. I do my daily biases before. I do my weekly objectives. When they get hit, I note them. If I missed it, I note it. If my bias was completely wrong, I come over here and fill that out. And, you know, that's what I do. That's how I backtest. So I backtest what I did. I backtest my performance. I never really backtest. Yeah, I never really backtest anything else. Price action. Yeah, I mean, like, I'll go back and, like, if I'm learning a new strategy, I'll test it out. But besides that, if I'm not learning a new strategy or something outside of my trading plan, I'm not really doing any. Previous daily high taken on S&P. Previous daily high and weekly high taken on Dow, and we're taking out that range on DXY. Really nice. So original bias on DXY is playing out really nice. We may be getting that revisitation into that imbalance after all. Do you find 3 a.m. useful to take entries? If so, I am curious why. 3 a.m. So I only trade New York. I used to trade London as well. I used to trade London as well, and this was my baby. This was, or is still, in my heart. Yeah, GJ. And I used to trade at 3 a.m. all the time. Stay up, London, trade London. I used to trade GU, EU at London almost every single time. But I traded both of them for a really long time, both New York and London. I mean, I was always trading like a motherfucker, but I did trade both of them, unfortunately, for a really long time. And I was getting rocked on both sessions, but I just stuck with the one that rocked me the least. And it just happened to be New York. I guess not that rocked me the least, because on London I had some really insane plays. My biggest play was during London. It was a 1 minute accumulation on NASDAQ, believe it or not. And it was during London at 3 a.m. But when it came down to it, I really wanted to master and get really into our indices. And I couldn't really do that by staying up through London. So I had to pick either indices or my, Forex pairs. And I made the choice, and I was just like, my goal is to get better with indices, and it's been the goal for a couple years now. So that was why I made that big switch. It wasn't necessarily because I didn't like London. Happy Monday. Oh, you meant the 3-minute time frame. That's so fucking funny. At 3 a.m. 3 minute, yeah. It's my favorite. It's on my up there in one of my favorites. Yeah, I don't know why I don't have the 4-minute in there. I don't really look at the 4-minute, but I definitely look at the 3-minute a lot. And back when I used to trade peso and all Forex assets, the 3-minute was my favorite. 3-minute was my favorite. That's all. I still constantly look at 3-minute. My NASDAQ short from last week on Thursday on NF or CPI was off the 3-minute. I was just kind of looking for distros from this imbalance here and this imbalance here. It's kind of a smaller imbalance, the second one, but imbalances there, kind of overlapping each other. 3-minute came back after 1 p.m. That's how I got those entries right there. Boom. And I'm still holding this one. Like I said, I still believe that we can. It was way more in profit before today's session, but it is what it is. Sometimes you just gotta withstand those pullbacks. I don't know. Q Bank said something over the weekend, and he said it multiple times, but if you can't accept the risk, you can't enjoy the reward. And it's true. It's like I accepted the risk on this short, and I accepted the risk that it may pull back into my area pretty deep, but I accepted that risk already. So oh bro, his screen's still on Notion. That's fucking embarrassing. Dude, bro, Shibin, SJ, bro. You already know. I do that shit on our one-on-ones all the time. Thank you so much, bro. You're fucking funny. Have you ever used the bot? Yes. Yes, I have. Yeah. Yeah, I have. And I still have a connection for bots, actually. I just don't use them anymore. But I still have a connection for a bot. If you guys ever want to get, working with that. The only thing I'll tell you is that they ask for a pretty big capital. They don't. These guys only play with like, I think like $10,000-$20,000 deposits or more. I can't see the charts. I'm sorry about that. That's so funny. But yeah, no, so far everything's playing out pretty nicely. Nasdaq's avoiding the highs. These guys, okay, so to me that's bearish divergence. I do see this thing shorting off here pretty soon. Unfortunately though, or no, actually I don't, not yet. We're gonna stay here for a bit. Yeah, 3 minute. Oh yeah, Nasdaq, 3 minute. Yeah, I took this Nasdaq 3 minute trades right here. But yeah, no, I do trade 3 minute. Just chilling basically. Had a really chill week. Alright guys, there's 21 of you here. I know you guys been waiting for this quote. Before we end the call, I'm gonna drop this quote so that way you guys have an opportunity to win a one-on-one session with myself. I'll help you set up your trading plan. I'll help you set up a nice system for you guys to, you know, consistently show results. Not for anybody else but yourselves. So let's see. I'm gonna go to my handy dandy book because I have a lot of quotes here. Just give me a second. I have a couple of them highlighted. Alright, this is a fucking good one. And then, I mean, I talk about this a lot. A lot. And I mentioned this one so many times. So for those of you who consistently show up, this one's going to be really easy. I'm sorry for people that are new, for my new guys, but you may have even read this already. Okay, and this is not related to the charts. Not directly, I guess. Everything relates with each other, but not directly, okay? So, everyone who blank, okay? Fill in the blank. And you gotta type out the whole quote, the entire quote, not just the blank, the entire quote. Everyone who blank, yeah, everybody who blank, those are two words that are blank, reflects a part of yourself that you have yet to embrace. Okay? Everyone who frustrates... Fuck, I said it. Whoever heard it. Everyone who blank reflects a part of yourself that you have yet to embrace. Everyone who blank reflects a part of yourself that you have yet to embrace. I already said it. I accidentally said it. Everyone who frustrates reflects a part of yourself that you have yet to embrace. You type that hella fast. No, you guys are missing one word there. Everyone who triggers you. Yeah, no. That's not it. I mean, Zach, you're super close. You're just missing a word. For sure. Everyone who frustrates... Yeah. I mean, just kind of read your sentence. It doesn't make sense when you read it out loud. Daryl says, everyone who frustrates you reflects a part of yourself that you have yet to embrace. My boy Daryl, let's go. Let's go, Daryl. Come on, bro. I knew that you would fucking get it. I knew that you would get it eventually, Daryl. Hit me up, my boy. I got you with this one-on-one. Hit me up on Telegram. I'll drop a link for you so that way you can schedule it. Zach, you were super close, brother. But, you know, you were just missing that one word. Yeah, Daryl. Yeah, I know you've been you've been really active on every single call. Always putting in entries for these giveaways. So shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. Yeah, just hit me up on Telegram, and then I'll drop you the link so you can book this 1 hour call. Okay, give me 1 second. I am gonna walk my wife out the door real quick while she heads out. All right, guys. Thank you for waiting. Just had to walk my wife to the car real quick. I always walk her out the door. Always trying to just walk her out the door and make sure that she makes it to work safely. Cool. Previous daily low. NASDAQ. I love NASDAQ. I love the divergence on indices right now. Makes everything 10 times more attractive. You scared the crap out of me. Yeah, I probably came in hot. Yo, yeah, congrats to Daryl. Again, I'll do these a couple times a week. I give out one-on-ones. I'll give out at least like 2 or 3 one-on-ones every single week. So if you tune in, you're bound to get one. If you hear me talking all the time, I always mention quotes. I always mention little things, so it's going to be pretty easy to follow. So yeah, I like this divergence on there. I like the divergence a lot. Ooh, thank you, brother. Yeah, please. It helps the channel a lot when you like and share this. If you press that little share button and share the link, copy the link, and share it with people, it helps the channel a lot. Like and share, that'd be awesome, guys. I really, really appreciate that. Yeah, it's super nice place. Very calm morning. No buttons for me so far. Beautiful shorts towards previous daily low. And then maybe we get that imbalance down here. He said, "You're married, fam? Congrats." yeah, I am married. Yeah, I'm married and I have 2 kids. I have an 8-year-old. She's turning 9 next month. On November 18th, she's turning 9. Her name's Ariel. And then I have Gianni. Gianni was adopted, but he is my wife's little brother. And we adopted him when he was 7. And he is now 12. Next year, he's going to be turning 13. He's in middle school already. Kind of hard to believe that I already have a middle schooler. What are you guys looking for this week on the charts? Yeah, just the shorts on indices for me, at least. Shorts on indices. And then essentially, if I'm looking for longs on dollar, I want to see the low of the week. So I'm planning out the low of the week right now. And so if I had to say currently the low of the week that I want to see, or where I want to see the low of the week formed, is within this daily imbalance here. Okay. Not that one. One second. This one right here. This daily imbalance that we're trading into. I'm not saying at the high of it or at the low of it, but at least, okay, 50% of this. I kind of want to see us go maybe 50% and create the low of the week. Okay. So that way we can pump those numbers for the longs. Can you describe what you see in the buy opportunity for GJ? I want to see if I'm in alignment with you. I honestly was not looking at GJ for anything, but we can look at GJ. Wow, that's long. On a monthly perspective, we took out a lot of liquidity towards the downside. Let's kind of wipe this out though. Let's look at the 3-month, which is the quarter. Okay, that quarterly, cool. We still have that quarterly month low right there. We took out a lot, everything between there though, and honestly, it does look like we can push down one more time, but we'll see. See, at the beginning of the month, we came down, took out all that liquidity. The way we closed last week, though, kind of makes me think that we are going to trade back down. You know, look at the way we closed bearish last week after we took out major liquidity. So after taking out major liquidity, we are seeing signs of distro. So potentially more signs of distro. We have this candle right here. I'm going to measure out the wick. So about 50% of that wick lines up with this previous daily high. So 50% and above is premium. And within this premium range, I want to see liquidity taken. Notice I wasn't basing my range off of structure. I'm basing my range purely off of that wick that we're trading into currently. Right? That weekly wick. So 50% of that weekly wick is that daily, previous daily high. So that weekly wick is my current range that we're trading in. And so I want to see premium liquidity within that weekly wick taken. Right? Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's cool. I'm glad that you're asking questions. I love interactions. So I'm guarantee you the questions that you have will definitely help millions of other people. DXY lows taken. Maybe we respect this 1 hour, right? Like we can still take out the whole 1 hour range and respect this 1 hour structure. Right? You have to understand that. We can respect this whole 1 hour range. So now, okay, DXY took out previous daily low. Remember what I was mentioning? Did EU take out? No, it didn't. Okay, bearish divergence. Bearish fucking divergence on EU. This is what I was talking about. DXY traded into that imbalance. EU did not. This is exactly what I was talking about. If we get a 5-minute distribution up here, I mean, I'm looking at big drops. Potentially even be able to hold this one. This is exactly what I was talking about and looking for. Okay, for those of you who weren't here at the beginning of the session, I'm going to point it out to you guys one more time. Okay, US dollar takes out previous daily low. The reverse correlation or the inverse correlation on EU and dollar should have pushed EU enough to take out that previous daily high, just like DXY took out that previous daily low, but it didn't. That wasn't the case. DXY isn't a 1 hour accumulation that could still be respected as bullish, and so right now I'm bearish on EU and on indices. But I want to see at least a 5-minute distro. Yeah, the 15-minute still looks pretty bullish on NASDAQ. It's the one on the right. The one on the right is the 15-minute. The one on the left is the 5-minute. I think UJ longs would align pretty well with our DXY bias. I would agree. I would agree. EU is the one that I like the most right now. Yeah, EU is the one that gets the most of my attention. You know, if you're someone that doesn't understand divergence too well, it's all good. Just keep tuning in and you'll see it so much and every day on my channel that you'll eventually be able to identify it all on your own. I don't remember what this range was on Dow. Oh, it's that whole weekly range or daily, weekly imbalance right there. We took out all of that liquidity. Like I said, I think Dow will be able to take out previous weekly highs or internal liquidity up there. Doesn't have to, but they definitely can. You and Matthew are cold when it comes to the charts. I learned from Matthew for sure. I used to be very emotional when I traded. That's why those in-person boot camps are really important, because you know, we have those once or twice a year, and I feel like that's when I really learned how to be more like fucking chill about my trading. I used to be so fucking strict, super strict about everything, like being up, alarms, and all this stuff, reading, meditating. It There is a point in which positivity can become toxic. And if you enforce positivity so much, I believe that it can become a toxic trait. Hold on. Oh, that's where it was. Okay. There's a point in which, you know, positivity can become toxic if it's being enforced in a manner that you just don't like. You know what I mean? Like, it could simply be you don't like meditating, but yet you force yourself to meditate every day. You know what I mean? And then after a month, you still don't like meditating, and that's toxic. You know what I mean? Like, enforcing something that isn't really making you feel better inside is. I'm not saying that meditation's like that. Did you guys hear my bells? That's London close. That's London close. But yeah, I feel like at the same time, positivity can become toxic in a sense. And for the person asking what time are the best times to trade, in my experience, now. Like, now is a big window. So the last 15 minutes, I wouldn't have pushed a button. It was between 10:45 to 11 a.m. I wouldn't have pushed a button. It's my least probable window right there. And then now you have a high probable window for the next 30 minutes, from 11 a.m. to 11:30. Very high probable window. Yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys as well on one of the boot camps. Trust me, they're gonna go all over the place. So this one on January is going to be in Utah, and then afterwards, 100 depends on what these new laws that they're pushing in Mexico. I mean, in not Mexico, on Texas. Texas is getting a lot of immigration and a lot of immigration like enforcements over there, and I don't really support any of that stuff. So depending how all of that stuff ends up going, after this next boot camp in January, we'll plan out the Texas one. But if it's not Texas, it's going to be somewhere really close to Texas. And if it is Texas, it's probably going to be one of these bigger cities. So just letting you guys know, we were looking at Texas to begin with before Utah, but we wanted to go snowboarding with everyone at the boot camp, so we picked Utah, and we picked a really good month. But following up after Utah, it's definitely Texas. It's gotta be, for sure. And we'll keep moving from coast to coast, right? We went to California, then we went to Colorado, now Utah, then Texas, maybe even AZ, Arizona. I love AZ. Yeah, we may end up even hitting Phoenix around there. I've wanted to visit for a while. So that was flying. Nice. Every time you say flying, I look at it and I'm like, it's exactly where it was when the hourly closed. I just looked at it. But yeah, I guess it flew in the past hour. it flew in the past hour pretty well. Host one in Canada. Yo, bro, so I'm just letting you know that's in the works. I don't want to say anything, but we're working. We want to hit a couple of more states here in the United States. So after Texas, we wanted to go to the East Coast, New York, for sure, Florida, maybe even Miami. Who knows? We'll see how we line these up. I know we were talking about the Forex, the FX Summit, probably hitting that all together as a group, as a mastermind, getting a group of us together and going to that next one in Miami or wherever it ends up being next, right? Because they threw it all over the place. But yeah, for sure, Canada is up there on top of my list to hit. I want to see a lot of you guys in Canada and all my Canadian squad. The FX Summit's in Dubai. This next one's in Dubai. That's fucking lit. The next one's in Dubai. That's lit. That's gonna be really cool. I can't wait to see who's gonna be there. Nasdaq doing a little something. They're starting to do a little something. I'm just letting you know, as long as it happens within the next 30 minutes, I'm willing to do a little something too. But if it's not within the next 30 minutes, I'm going to hop off and call it a day. Some of these streams are long, some of them are short. It's, we never know. But I'm ready. Ready for whatever. Yeah, I really want to see who's going to make it to that Forex Summit next year. It's going to be lit. Anyways, guys, while I have you guys on here, I'm going to share something real quick. Give me just 1 second, because I don't know where it's at. One second. One sec. I got it. Okay, I got it here. Boom. Nice. I got it. Alright, guys, so I'm going to share this with you guys. If you guys like the way that I trade, if you guys like what you see, then I'm having an online boot camp. Okay, I'm having an online boot camp for ICT and smart money concepts. And this is a presentation that I did live. Okay, I did this presentation live for our Denver event. Okay, when we went, or not Denver, but Colorado event. When we went to Colorado in March, I did a whole presentation. Every single presentation, I change it, I update it. I do a brand new presentation for every single live event that we do. I update it as much as possible to my current understanding of the market. This was my current understanding up until July, right? I haven't updated it since July, but this is the last time on October 28th and 29th that I will be showing this presentation. After this, I'll never show it again because it's going to get deleted, updated, and changed to new ones now. This next bootcamp, in the in-person bootcamp, I'm going to be talking about indices and only indices. So this is the last time you guys will hear me talk about, Forex assets and then London kill zones and all that stuff that, it's not just, I guess it's not just ICT concepts, but that's why I put smart money concepts as well, because I learned a lot from Iffy. I learned a lot from a lot of these other traders, Siva, Zachary Hogan, Jordan Morgan, many others that I definitely, never forget, but I'm not going to name everybody. I learned a lot over the past, 4 or 5 years of trading. And I can definitely tell you guys, 5 years now, holy shit. I could definitely tell you guys that out of everything that I've gathered this past year, I've felt the most competent in my trading. And it's all thanks to these new ICT concepts, smart money concepts that I've been learning, intertwining, and mixing together. If you guys see my markups or anything like that, again, this is probably going to be the last opportunity to see this presentation. I won't be giving away any more seats of these. I give away quite a few seats. So moving forward, if you want a spot at this boot camp, give me just 1 second. If you want a spot at this bootcamp, actually, you can go to the description. Okay, on the description on this video, click on the link tree. Okay, click on my link tree. All right. Okay, click on my link tree, and you guys can see it right here. Let me share it with you guys. That top one. This top one is how you book it. Okay, so again, guys, last time I'm going to be showing this presentation. I believe that there's 30 seats available. There was 30 seats available. There's 17, 18 seats left. Okay, it usually always goes pretty slow until the month of, I believe this month we're going to get fully booked out for those 30 seats. So make sure you grab your seat. Make sure you guys have that available, and I will see you guys there for this bootcamp. All right, if you guys ever can't make it to this in-person bootcamps, these online bootcamps are the same thing, but except I do them all online basically. Okay, so it's a lot easier. I know not everyone can come to, you know, where are we going next? Utah. Yeah, I know not everyone can go to Utah, so, or I know not everyone's gonna make it to Texas. So given that, I have those opportunities, so you guys are able to still see the same presentation but online. Now the presentation I'm gonna be doing in January, I'm not gonna do that online until the summertime. So they don't happen very often, so take advantage of them. If you ever felt like ICT is too complicated, if you ever felt like these concepts are too much, don't know where to look, like, look no more. Okay, I got you guys. I'm still bearish on DXY. Still got like another, like, I'm gonna give it like another 10 minutes, guys, and then I'm gonna call it good. Fucking hungry. Has anybody taken any trades today? Did anybody execute anything? If you did, which asset did you trade? If you didn't, why not? You know what? Did no trade present itself today? Where maybe you missed it? Maybe you want to go grab a coffee and you effed it up? It happens to me. I definitely relate to that. Not the coffee part, but I always get tea and I sometimes miss it. Or I'll walk my wife to the car real quick. It's right outside the house. Literally a couple steps and I'll still miss a trade. It happens that quick. Yeah, that went right to those highs. I mean, as I mentioned, that was the only guy that I'm like, this guy looks bullish as hell. Yeah, Dow followed everything to the T. Nasdaq did too. Essentially Nasdaq did as well. I mean, it went a little bit past my blue shaded area, but I wasn't anticipating it to take this high. So essentially, Nasdaq was also very much on point. We were looking at gold. Let's go look at gold. Yeah, if you guys have, yeah, send markups at that point. Don't send me a whole paragraph describing like the setup. Just send me a markup. You know, send me a Twitter. You guys have me on fucking Telegram. Send me that, you know, and let me know in the chat that you sent it through there, and I'll be happy to go look at it. Ariane said all indices. All indices were on point. Yeah, maybe that's what you meant. I think that's what you meant, brother. All indices were on point. I think so. S&P we did look at, right? Yeah, I was kind of hoping that S&P wouldn't go that high, to be honest. Yeah. But NASDAQ is at a crucial area, because if it closes above this daily imbalance, I'm going to close my short up there. S&P above the previous daily high. Got stopped out of my broker, but I took it off a 15-minute order block. 15-minute imbalance right above for value gap. Oh, you took it from like left to right. Okay. When your broker went above. I think that happens way too much at that. You know, if that happened to me as often as it happens to you, bro, I'd really start considering leaving more space. That happens almost like every week. You know, just being honest. You know, I definitely consider, and it just happens almost every week, you know? Your broker does something that the feed didn't, and so start leaving more room. Psychology question by Sarah. Sarah asked, when you're doing a challenge or challenges, is it normal to find it harder to fully trust your analysis and hold trades like fear is not playing out? Fear of not playing out? I'm really struggling to trust myself. Yes, it's totally normal. You guys gotta understand this, like, it is in our human nature, okay, to be driven by two things. We are driven by these two very things: risk to reward. Okay? Most human beings are driven by loss than they are by gain, unfortunately. So, in other words, you probably feel more fear than you do confidence or belief for whatever it is that you will potentially gain, right? And give me 1 second. I was looking at NAS, so we're gonna look at NAS real quick. 5 minutes looking pretty nice. Okay. And so most human beings are driven by loss than they are driven by gain. I have a pretty good example. I mean, I've told this story before, but let's say I'm gonna pick on you, Zach. I'm gonna pick on you a little bit more. Okay, let's say I go to Zach's house and it's like 4 in the morning, uninvited. It's like 4 in the morning, PST, not even EST, PST, 4 in the morning. Okay, it's fucking early as shit. And Zach, and I'm knocking on his window. And I'm like, Zach, Big O's has a sale on tires. You know, if you buy 3, you get the 4th one for free. And for me, long term, that's a really good deal. You know, I drive everywhere. I might as well get some really good deals on these winter tires, right? And so Zach, though, let's say Zach says, you know what, bro? I don't have a car. My car's not running right now. So, no, I'm okay. Right? And Zach will be like, no. And Zach will go back to bed. Right? But then, let's say now, alternative universe, okay? Same thing happens. I go to Zach's window and I like, boom, 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 boom. Zach, bro, wake up. Someone is stealing your fucking car, bro. Someone stole your car. Not stealing, but someone stole your car. You know, I came over here to tell him about the whole thing again. Same thing. I was going to tell him about the big old discount, the tire discount or deal. But instead, I saw that his car got stolen. And I go on there, boom, boom, boom. Bro, I think your car got stolen. Boom. Immediately. I promise you, immediately, Zach will get up, jump out of bed. Immediately, will jump out of bed and say, bro, what the fuck, and this and that, and then boom. It's because human beings are wired to be driven by loss than they are driven by gain. Because it's more comfortable to not seek out gain. It's more comfortable to not seek out loss, right? It's nice and cozy to be there. But when loss happens, of course you don't know how to react because it's an impulsive thing, right? You just immediately impulsively driven, you know. And so when we fear things, we go into this mode of what is that? Fight or flight. Okay? And we're on alert mode. Okay? And it's in our human nature to fear loss. And it is in human nature to fear loss as an essence of like fear of losing your life, fear of losing whatever it is, right? But it's an endangerment. Your brain doesn't know the difference between your fear of losing money to your fear of losing your life. Like it takes everything into survival mode. And so it goes right, like it doesn't matter if it's you really close to losing your life or you really close to losing a shit ton of money. It will take both exactly the same and it will go into this survival mode, right? And when we go into our survival mode, we tend to make these very impulsive responses or not responses, but we tend to make these very impulsive reactions, right? And so because we are more driven by loss, we start again fearing the loss. And so most humans, you have to rewire that. That's probably like the key part in which you got to rewire. So you have to start training your mind with small wins, right? You have to start winning small every single day. Like getting up early in the morning, that's a small win. Not trading today, that's a small win. You know, whatever it may be, but stacking your small wins so that way you're gaining every step of the way, right? And you train your mind to gain and to be more gain oriented than loss and fear oriented. Because right now, and most of us, not just you, but most of us, even including myself up there, including Matthew and all your mentors, we're more driven by loss than we are by gain. And so it's about acquiring all these smaller wins day by day. Did you go to the gym? Did you read? Did you do the things that you put yourself out to do, right? Did you do everything that you told yourself you were going to do? One sec. Sorry. I like this area. This imbalance looks pretty good. As long as we keep that imbalance intact in like 3 minutes. I like this area for a short. Okay, so yeah, I mean, that's how I see it. Maybe not everybody views it the same way, but I believe that you have to stack your small wins now. You have to start, stacking these wins now, so that way when you start training your mind to be more win and gain oriented than you are driven by loss and fear. I hope that helps answer your question. Is any strategy evergreen, or do you have to consistently tweak it according to market conditions to maintain decent win rate? No, you can definitely get a model, Roland. So Roland, that's a really good question. I think this is a more advanced question for sure. Not that any of them haven't been advanced, but this is a really technical question because there is a certain, like, for example, like the way that you have to see it is like this, okay? So let's say we got like, okay, 1 or 2, right? Or let's say, actually, I'm gonna do a really good example here. We're gonna do 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. If option 1 happens, then you're gonna do this or that. If option 2 happens, you're gonna do this or that, right? If on option 1, and then option 1 gets divided by 1 and 2, 1 and 2. If this happens, continue. If it doesn't happen, then it's scenario 2, and then at that point you don't continue. Okay. And then your other option, if so and so happens, then we continue. But if this happens, then we don't continue. And then you got to keep going with your criteria. This is how you mold a... This is, in my eyes, this is how you mold shit. Okay, that's how you mold a model, right? Because you have to have certain things that line up with your criteria. Right? So certain things have to line up with your criteria. But it has to go in a chronological order. Not necessarily in a chronological order, but you have to have like terms of elimination. Like what has to happen for you to be actively looking for a reversal? Well, for me, what has to happen for me to actively look for a reversal is a big one has to be divergence. Another one has to be, is it trending towards the downside? Like, yeah, we're overall bearish. So I'm looking for trends towards the downside. This imbalance and this low right here was so clean. I do pray that we go back up there a little bit higher on this next 5-minute candle, and then I will take it. Yep, I will take that. In that imbalance if we get back up there. So for example, Roland 2, structure, liquidity, right? And of course it's way more than that, but to simplify, if certain liquidity is not there, I won't trade. And you guys notice how I didn't trade for the longs? Well, it's because there was no intraday liquidity. So because there was no intraday liquidity, Dow was the only one that swept intraday liquidity, but Nasdaq did not. And so then that's why like Dow was the most probable for the longs, and I didn't take any Nas longs or any other longs because one, I missed the Dow intraday liquidity, but there's no other intraday liquidity taken on any other asset. Right, so now I want to point out the fact that we are still trading within this 15-minute bullish imbalance, and that we can still eventually come up there, take this high out, and still trade lower. Just want to make sure you guys are aware of that. DXY is trading into this insufficiency right here on the 15-minute and distributing towards the downside. So maybe we'll still get more downside here. 5-minute didn't even accumulate. I believe that we're going to get more downside on DXY. So if DXY is going to continue moving lower and potentially even make it back down here, then I'm going to be looking for NASDAQ to potentially even take out that high one more time. So in other words, I won't be trading this morning. I'll maybe even wait till after lunch, so around 1 p.m. But yeah, it's already 11:30 and there's just... yeah, there's no reason for me to take this trade right now. You see what I mean? Okay, Roland. So I was about to take this trade. The setup all lined up. Everything lined up. The only thing that now I needed to confirm was the DXY. And if the DXY can confirm that it's going to go against me, then that means that criteria has not been met. And at that point, I opt out of the trade. Right? Because you got to look at it this way. Let's say you take a demo trade right there, right? But you got to look at it this way. A lot of people's trading plan is entry driven. Most people's trading plan and whole understanding of trading is derived from how to get into the market, right? They're looking for reasons on why to get into the market, and the market's going to show you exactly what you want. If you want to see shorts, you'll see distributions. If you want to see longs, you'll see accumulations. The market is designed to do so. Right? The market is designed to do so. Sorry, 1 second. I'm going to mark this out. because I do think that it's gonna go up here. The market's designed to do so. So then at that point, you know, it's more up to you to design a criteria that needs to be met for you to take a trade. And if it's not met to the T, then don't fucking take it. Because again, a lot of people's, trading plan is 100% derived on just entries. You might as well call it a fucking entry plan. And that's it. Because it's not a trading plan. It's a fucking entry plan. Right? And people have entry plans, but they don't have a plan, a trading plan, a risk management plan, an exit strategy. And to me, exits have always been more important than entries. I always look for my exits way more than I look for my entries. I've always been exit driven, right? Because if I find my exit and I don't find my entry, then there's no trade. Right? But usually people just look for the entry, don't even know where they're going to fucking exit. They look for the entry first, and then they go for the exit. They try to identify the exit, the 1 to 3, and then they try to... All of that stuff is already predetermined on my end. I've already predetermined how much risk to reward it's going to be potentially from the entry point. I've already predetermined my exit strategy. I've already predetermined what my criteria... how my criteria needs to line up, and it's with the DXY on this example. It's the DXY. The DXY is the main reason why I'm not going short. DXY 5-minute imbalance again could play out, but that's a new 15-minute candle. We'll look at this 15-minute candle and decide. Yeah, nah, I'm not participating in this. I'm not taking this short. Just letting you guys know, not taking it. Love that, man. Yeah, for sure, brother. Sarah said yes, helpful. Thank you. Yeah, of course. And you guys can I know that, I don't know why, but I've always loved my Instagram name. It came from two things. My Instagram name came from, back then I used to love the Migos. Okay. And back then they came out with an album with Travis Scott. Or an EP with Travis Scott. Okay. It's called something Honcho Jack, maybe. Oh man, what was it? What was that album called? What was that EP called? It was called Cactus Jack, maybe? No. Was it called Honcho Jack? It was called Honcho Jack. Yeah. It's called Honcho Jack. And that's where it came from. Okay, so I love Alex Morton. Alex Morton was one of the reasons why I wanted to become a speaker, and I wanted to influence individuals, and I wanted to do this whole streaming life, this whole streaming experience. And then Honcho came from that album, Honcho Jack, with Migos. And so no one ever called me Honcho before that. And when I switched it over to that, I just found it so odd. I don't know why. I still till this day kind of find that odd. So if you guys don't know my name, and I will start introducing myself more often, my name is Bastion. My name is Bastion Suhart. It's a pleasure to meet you guys. My friends call me Bash. You guys can call me Bash for short. Bastion. If you want to stick with Honcho, you guys can. It's just like a newer name that I'm not used to. Like, I wasn't used to Bash. My friends should call me Bash all the time. I was not used to Bash. It was really hard for me to get used to that. Really, really difficult. But I'm used to it now. Now it's like, oh, Bash, yeah. So I'm not used to Honcho yet, but I'm getting used to it slowly but surely. So just funny story about that. Sorry, I just read you said it, and so I just wanted to share that with you guys. Random. We're already here for 2 hours, so might as well extend it a little longer. I'm not taking any trades anymore myself, but again, you guys follow your plan, okay? Yeah, I'm gratefully Griffula, I just started getting a consistent win rate, and maybe the fear of the strategy not working anymore makes me paranoid. Ties back to the fear-driven actions you mentioned before. Yeah, it's look the I think what's cool is people always ask me like what was it for you that caused you that gave you that breaking point and gave you that point of profitability. And I'm gonna end it here after this, so I'm gonna leave it on this point because this is a really good point to end it on. And it's never done. Like, I feel like, yeah, your win rate can get bigger, and I do see that myself, but I feel like, and you probably can relate to this, Roland, and anybody that else has reached profitability or a point of profitability, not even like a profitable year, but profitable week, a profitable month, you guys can relate to this. It's never done. It's like you never really reach it. It's like that bar right there of profitability is never really actually there, because you're constantly putting yourself at risk. You're constantly coming back to the markets. You're constantly trading. And to continue to trade and make money in trading, you have to show up. And so, I can swing a trade. There's ways to lessen or mitigate the risk, right? There's ways to mitigate a lot of things. But when it comes to profitability or risk, like, there's just no point in which you can say I've reached profitability and I won't risk anymore, because we'll forever be at risk of losing your profitability. Forever and ever. Right? So I feel like that's a really I'm glad that you mentioned that. I'm not saying that this is anything in relation to what you were saying, but that what you mentioned, it's really resonated with me, because I just realized, like, yeah, I may have reached profitability, but there's weeks, months where I'm not profitable. Right? There's been weeks and months, I guess not this year, but last year, that I had weeks and months that I wasn't profitable at all. Oh, I think this year in February I wasn't profitable. I think I broke even on February. Right? And so it's like constant fear of not being profitable, no matter what. Like, it's always gonna be there. But what's really cool is the buffalo. Okay? And I'm gonna wrap it up after this. Okay? Buffalo story. So buffaloes, it is in their nature, okay? It's driven in them, in their nature, to be afraid of water. Don't blame them, right? Probably not the best swimmers. So buffaloes are afraid of water. It's probably like their biggest fear, believe it or not. Okay, and so when it storms, what do you guys think the buffaloes do? When there's a storm out, what do you guys think the buffaloes do? Okay, when there's a storm out, buffaloes panic. Ooh, I don't know. Okay, so buffaloes, they don't seek shelter. Believe it or not, this is really cool. I'm glad that you both said this. So buffaloes don't seek shelter. What they do during a storm is they run and move towards the eye of the storm. Yes, Fabio, they face it. Exactly. So a lot of people ask me, like, how did you overcome your fear? I didn't. I'm still just as scared as I was the first time. I'm still just as shitless scared as I was, all these other times. Like, it still happens till this day, and it has not gone away. I haven't overcome the fear. It has become a known factor to me now. Because buffaloes don't run away from the storm, because they know that if they run away from the storm, or they try to go out and seek shelter, they're going to run away from it, and that means they're going to be in the storm a lot longer. So the more you run away from the storm, the more you cannot outrun the storm. You just got to live through the storm, right? You can't outrun a storm. You really can't. You're going to be in the storm a lot longer if you're running away from it. But if you run at the storm, right? If you run at the storm, you're going to get through the storm a lot faster. You're going to get through the storm a lot sooner, right? Not just that, but the first time you went through the storm, it might have kicked your ass. But the second time you went through the storm, you already, oh, it's kicking your ass. Oh, you're trying to kick my ass again. Okay, cool. I know what to do when you try to do that. And then, oh yeah, I mean, I remember this ass whooping. Like, I won't forget that one. And then next time you run through the storm, it's going to be a lot smoother. Are you still scared every time you run through the storm? Fuck yeah. That will never go away. That will never go away. But too many of us run away from our fears and seek shelter. Not enough of us are running towards the storm and facing our fears. When you dive into this fourth quarter, I want you guys to dive head first. Go head first into the fucking storm. Run at it. Right? Finish this last quarter strong. Right? Buffaloes out here. Buffaloes. I'm actually gonna get a buffalo painting or something in my trading because I love that story so much. I truly do believe that most people are just unaware of their fears, and because we don't know our fears well enough, we seek shelter from them. But it's just like going to the doctor. If you go to the doctors for some pain and they gave you medication, they gave you medication for the pain. That was the medication for the pain. Seeking shelter is the medication for the pain. It is not resolving the issue. Right? Same with the doctor. When you go to the doctors and they give you just medication, that's not the solution. That's just seeking shelter from the pain. And so you have to learn how to dive deeper into it, how to run head first at it. And you don't do that without getting your ass whooped first, right? But we can't. It doesn't sound that attractive, right? Because, dude, who wants to get their ass whooped for so many years? But that's the thing, guys. It's like so many people want to love trading and want to love what they do, but they don't realize that to love what you do, you have to get good at it. And to get good at something, you have to suffer first. That's it. That's the key. Suffering comes with love. You want to love, you have to suffer first. Suffer through the storm. Run head at it first, because at first it's going to kick your ass. But you need that. We all do. All of us. Okay? So with that, guys, it gets me really emotional because it's pretty tough, man. Like I said, trading is a tough thing, and overcoming your fears is something that not everyone is willing to do. And I'm proud of all of you for doing so, being here every day. And yeah, I got really emotional there. I'm really into that talk. I'm just so passionate about this. I love trading. And I know that you guys will love it too. You just gotta suffer through it. It's painful. Yeah, I'm gonna go. Anyways, guys, love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for giving me the time, day, and space. I want you guys to know that you're doing everything. You're exactly where you want to be, where you need to be to get to where you want to be. Keep pushing yourselves. Run towards that storm. Be the buffalo in your life, in your family, in your life, in your tribe, wherever it is that you're doing. You're inspiring people around you with everything that you do, even though you don't realize it. So take care. Clap easy. Trade responsibly, and I will talk to you guys soon. All right, these shorts are gonna play out so fucking nice. I'm not trading right now, it's not my trading window, but I'm just saying the shorts are playing out pretty nice now. That bearish divergence ended up, I'll go over it tomorrow. Love you guys. Take care. Clap easy and trade responsibly. Peace.